All right, let's do this. What is going on, guys? I hope everyone is doing fantastic today. We're back at it. We're going to be building Combo Island again today. I'm going to try to start on the treehouse slash like club area. Maybe some of this beach house action. We got the market done last week. One of our first little floating islands. We don't even know what we're going to have on there yet. But we did get this little market section done with the booths. So that's pretty sick. I hope you guys had a sick 4th of July if you're celebrating the 4th, if you're in the US. Hope everyone was safe. Hope everyone had a lot of fun. We had some drinks, had some food, set off some fireworks. It was a beautiful day. So we were very lucky. So yeah, we're gonna get started on this tree. It's kind of gonna be like the center piece. It's gonna be this huge tree with like a tree house at the top of it, because I think that would be really sick. And then basically we're gonna have these floating islands that move up and kind of around this tree house. And yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Let me get this out of the way here, so we're not building over top of our spawn point. So yeah, I want to keep doing these live streams. I'm only building this on live stream. Like I said, my intention for this is to be like a community hub for everyone that's, you know, a member of my YouTube channel, a member of my community. They can come to this place in the Sandbox, you know, presumably free of charge, and just hang out with other people that are members of the community. Just a spot for everyone to hang out, whether I'm here or not. I think that would be a lot of fun. I think there would be some, I think it's got some cool potential. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a big tree trunk. This thing's got to be pretty big because it's going to be like the centerpiece of the land. So is that circular enough? It's not. We're going to have to go a little more. Pretty hot one out there today. Where do we want to have the door? We're going to have the door pop out. We'll have a door on each side, actually, I think. That's what we'll do. Wonder how high we can get this thing. Yeah, so if you guys have questions about the Sandbox, you guys just want to chat about Metaverse style stuff, drop it in the chat. We can talk about it. We can talk about it. If you guys saw my update last week, you know there is a lot going on in the world of the Metaverse right now. A lot going on. I don't know if anyone got a chance to see the Sandbox live stream that went down earlier. They were showing off a new world or a new land that was built. Actually, it was a new asset pack that was built with nothing. It was a land that they showed off built with nothing but assets, and it looked incredible. Absolutely incredible. So some pretty exciting stuff coming from the some of the creators inside the Sandbox right now. What are we doing here, guys? What are we doing? I think that looks like a tree trunk, actually, ironically enough. Even with those weird, with the way the cap is, I think it looks good. I think it looks solid. So we're going to make doors here, and basically there's going to be an elevator in the middle that takes you all the way up. to the house at the top, which I think will be pretty sick. Nope, don't want to do that. A lot of terrain manipulation, guys. Lots of terrain manipulation. In this case, I'm actually building a structure with terrain manipulation too, so. You should put some glass tiles so the light shines inside the trunk. Love it. I'll probably put some windows going up it for sure. I absolutely can do that. Yeah, that would actually be really cool because then you can see out as you're going up the elevator. I thought about putting a few levels too, like maybe some levels with some like balconies and stuff leading up to like the actual building. Might be kind of cool too. What I'm doing right now is I'm building up the end of each face, because then I can just click and drag pretty easily and fill it out. But I gotta have the ends there so it's easy to attach something to. Oh, this is already getting pretty tall. Hope you're doing well today, Jerome. Actually, it's probably a good thing we're doing it like this, because I can add the elevator in before I close everything off, and that'll just make it a lot easier. To manipulate everything. Because once you close things off, you have to start moving the camera around in weird ways to get into like these small little areas. Not as easy. Oh, I'm watching. Awesome, man. I'm glad you could, I'm glad you're deciding to spend your time hanging out with me. I appreciate that. That means a lot. Hope work's going well. I just got done a little bit ago. It's always a busy day getting back in after a holiday. I always feel like you have a slight like drag going. Kind of stuck in holiday mode still. At least for me in the US. I don't know if you're in the US or not, but it's a very real thing. Sweet. Okay. This might be a good spot to put our first level, our first platform. We can add like a balcony and stuff. So, gotta decide how we're gonna do this. I think we did it really well. I think we did it really, possibly even symmetrical here. Which is the one thing you want to try to do. Obviously, you want to try to make things look natural, but at the same time, symmetry is your best friend when you're working with stuff like this, because otherwise things tend to not work out so well when you get to later phases. So taking the time to make sure all the lines are the same, you know, everything's the same length on every side, stuff like that, that really just does help a lot in the end. So we're gonna bring this, yeah, there we go. We're actually going to add a balcony too, so we're going to make this kind of stick out a little bit further than the rest of the tree. We're going to change the texture though. I don't want to use fire gravel for the whole balcony, so. Work is okay, just coding new company website. Oh, your PST? Couple hours behind. It's like 2 o'clock there. A lot of the people I work with are West Coast. So while I am East Coast, a lot of my day functions West Coast, so I feel that. Bought the Humble Bundle Pack, a bunch of game assets for making 2D games. We'll mess with them in Unity at some point. Ooh, that's cool, man. That's very cool. Make sure to share some of that. Share it in the Discord. If you aren't already in there, join my Discord and share it. I'd like to check that out. I actually just found out today that you can do some stuff. You can use some of the Unity coding, some of the basic Unity coding options to change some of the text and like the text pop-ups here in the game builder for the Sandbox, which is actually going to be pretty useful for just accentuating like certain scenes and stuff, and highlighting text and colors inside of conversations, stuff like that. That's very cool though, man. Unity is a very powerful engine. You know, there's a lot of talk about Unity versus Unreal, Unreal versus Unity, things like that. And while Unreal does have some tools that make it a lot easier to do certain things, I think that Unity in the same way benefits certain projects more than Unreal. Sometimes Unreal is just overkill too. And sometimes Unreal is just not practical. Like with the Sandbox here, I mean, it wouldn't have been practical for them to use an engine as powerful as Unreal when it can be completely accomplished within Unity and in a scalable manner. I think that's more attuned to what they wanted. So just another example. Okay, so I have to add a little bit of the elevation past this so that I know exactly where to extend the balcony to. My goal is to hopefully get this tree done, or at least most of the tree done today on stream, if I can. Because, you know, when you're building something on a stream and only on a stream, you got to get as much as you can get done in that amount of time. Okay. So let's throw the rest of the balcony out here. We'll do cobblestone because I like the way the cobblestone looks. Nope. Yeah, I'm curious to see what you can do with those assets, man. I think that would be pretty cool. This whole thing has gotten me all sorts of interested in just game building in general recently. So, although I'm very much a person that gets very impatient, and so this has also taught me a lot of patience because there's a lot of manual work here. It's not like you can snap your fingers and do something. You can come up with some great ideas, but, you know, it takes a little bit of execution. Unity is easier to learn for me. See. That's interesting. Yeah, I did not know Entropia was going to be doing that. I need to look into Entropia more. I've heard a lot of stuff about it. Don't know much about it. It doesn't seem to show up in any of the research I've done for Metaverse conversations, so I must just have to look a little bit deeper and see exactly what it is. Maybe it's just flying a little bit under the radar right now, which is fine. There's a lot of platforms doing that. Ugh, I hate doing that. Better save this. Yeah, I don't know much coding language, man, to be honest. I know a little bit of HTML. Trophy started in 2003. I've been playing since 2010. Okay, so it's one of those pioneering style. Is it? I'm assuming it's a metaverse. I mean, I know I saw people referencing it when they were talking about withdraw issues with Earth 2 back when it came out. So I'm assuming it has some similarities in some regard as a metaverse of some sort. It's a long time to play it though, man. That's very cool. I'm sure you've got quite a few friends in there by now. I don't know how high we're going to be able to get here. I brought my land all the way down to the bottom elevation here. Usually there's like a huge chunk, but I've deleted everything and brought it all the way down. So we're working from the bottom and working our way up. Started from the bottom, now we're here. So I don't know how much actual height we'll get to. I think we're supposed to have 128 meters, 128 of these squares. And yeah, we aren't even close. I don't even think we have. Maybe we're at 20. Close to 20, just over 20. So we can go about 5 times higher than this. We're gonna make a massive tree. Is that gonna be what this is? I think that would be sick with like multiple levels. We're gonna get crazy with it. Yeah, it's wild. I haven't heard of Entropia. I don't know why. I mean, I've heard of it. I just haven't seen more of it, and I wonder why that is. I guess it just must not have been in the circle of games that I normally play. You know, while I'm doing a lot of this stuff, traditionally, I grew up playing a lot of RTS style games, Command and Conquer, SimCity, stuff like that. But as I've gotten older, I gravitated more toward FPS games, like first-person shooters, stuff like that. Especially competitive first-person shooters. So this is kind of like taking me back a little bit to some of my more earlier game creation interests. And it's not that I ever lost interest in it. It's just that I had a newfound passion for competitive shooters, and I got pretty good at them. So I figured, you know, if you're getting pretty good at something, why not keep doing it? But at the same time, it's nice to come back to your roots a little bit. For sure. Tropia is a real cash economy MMO. They have a few planets which are maintained by other companies. Mindark is the main. Wow. So it sounds like very much a precursor to a lot of the Metaverse platforms that are trying to get started now. Very cool. Our withdrawal system takes a while, but I never do it. Yeah, I feel like withdrawing in platforms like that is just kind of like a personal preference thing. I think there's people that go into it with the intention of just trying to make a quick buck, and then there's other people that go into it with the intention of contributing to the greater good of the ecosystem or the community, etc. Do I think either is wrong? No, not really. I mean, neither's right either, technically. But there are some benefits to, you know, playing the game as opposed to just trying to make a quick buck. For one, your expectations don't get let down quite as easily, which we're seeing with some other Metaverse platforms right now, you know, with people expecting one thing and then finding out it's going to be something totally different is not always enjoyable. Very mature community, much older and more stable in income. It sounds like it. If it's been around that long, it seems like it's had time to shake out the people that are serious from the people that aren't serious. I mean, that's a long time, 10 years, you know, over 10 years. Yeah, you know, 18 years? 18 years it's been around. Holy moly. It's quite a life cycle for a game. This is going to be really cool. I think I'm going to make like rope bridges that go off to some of the floating islands and stuff. But it's all going to tie back to this main treehouse here. I'm also going to put some sort of like sick beach house down here. I don't know what we'll do for that exactly yet, but I want to make it something cool. Maybe something basic. I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure E2 and Sandbox will have its share of long-term players. Oh yeah, I think so, man. I mean, I already see people who I can kind of guess are going to be long-term players, and those who are going to be in it more to flip land, etc. And I mean, again, there's no wrong way to approach one of these platforms when they give you the ability. You know what I mean? If the option's there, then you're technically playing the game the way it's supposed to be played. It's just, I think that there's a little more enjoyment if you go into a platform with the intention of contributing to it. It's cool to hear that the community is much more mature, though. I'm sure that's refreshing. You're dealing with all the stuff that you can have to deal with in some of the other less mature communities and less mature projects. That's funny you mentioned that, Jerome, because it I know Earth 2 Odyssey did something similar with the services website. I know he did something similar to that, where he created a website for people to offer their like creation services and stuff. I think it was called E2 Reviews. I think he's also doing one for the Sandbox right now. Hopefully I'm not spoiling any of his stuff. I know he's already, since you're already mentioning the idea, I guess I could just say that he's already working on something like that. But I think that there's going to be a need for stuff like that, is what I'm really trying to get to. I think there's going to be a whole new job market that opens up from this kind of stuff. You know, game developers, world developers, things like that. I mean, I think there already is a market for them. If you go into like the Sandbox Discord right now, there's a whole section devoted to people trying to find people to build games for them, build assets for them, etc. So I think there's a whole business model that could be had there, or a whole business that could be created there. You know, virtual real estate developer, virtual real estate designer, virtual land designer, sandbox land designer, layout designer. There's limitless options, especially as more brands get involved and want to be more serious about their approach to a platform like this. They're going to need people that have those skills, you know, that have those abilities. So it's not a bad skill to have, man. Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be a huge explosion of jobs because of the metaverse. It's going to create a whole new wave of job opportunities. I'm really curious to see all the different. I mean, you can only you can think of certain ones, but I imagine that there's going to be so many more than we can even think of. Things we never even considered, and that's so cool to me. So a cool thing you could do as well, I mean, obviously I'm not really gearing this toward marketing, but imagine making this elevator shaft, right, and then putting billboards, frames all on the inside to advertise, and then charging people, charging brands, etc., to advertise for them in your elevator shaft. It's kind of funny. Well, I think it'd be kind of cool. I am working on some of the windows here, but I got to get the framing right here. Studying to use Roblox Studio since you can explain Roblox into cash. So I would really look into this, man, because this is basically that. You can turn this into cash, you can charge for your experiences, etc. But from what I understand, Roblox takes a pretty heavy cut, and there's some limitations, I think, to the way in which you can do it. I mean, I'm not saying don't do it. Obviously, if it's something that interests you, go for it. But what they're doing with the Sandbox here, wherever you can charge for sand and there's a, you know, just a direct exchange for it, I think there's a lot of potential for this to be even more lucrative for game builders and game designers. And Roblox Studio is obviously something to definitely check out because it's good practice. It's good for you. It's good to have under your belt. It's a good skill to have under your belt. But yeah, I definitely think that the Sandbox is going to be, I don't want to say it's the next Roblox because that's big. That's a huge statement to make. But I really do think it has the potential to take a large portion of the player base, to cannibalize that a little bit. Not cannibalize it, but to eat into it because of the ownership aspect of it, which doesn't really exist in some of the other platforms. So like, you know, when someone comes in here and they buy something, they own it forever and they can resell it on the secondary market, make their cash back, sell it for more, etc. You know what I mean? And that's a freedom that I don't think quite exists in other platforms yet. So that's why I think this has a lot of potential. How would you track foot traffic? How do you do analytics in Sandbox, like data to show how valuable your land is? It's going to be a little different, I think, because this is a very, very limited map size. Um, it's more about your experience, your positioning inside the metaverse. I think less than your positioning, just the overall experience you build, because there's such a limited number of lands. There's really going to be an opportunity to drive people to your land, no matter what. It's just going to be about whether or not you can hold people there, whether you create something that's engaging long term that people want to come back to. That's going to be, whether what shakes out the successful from the not successful people. And I think that really just comes into how much time you spend developing your experience, the kind of stuff you put on your experience, etc. I imagine there will be some things you can use to do some sort of analytics stuff, but because it's such a new metaverse and it's such a new platform, there's a lot of just properly positioning yourself as best you can. I think when this goes live, there's going to be obviously a learning curve, an introductory period where there's marketing, they're marketing to the platform, trying to get new users involved and stuff like that. And in that time, there'll be a lot of growing. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to make it so that when the Sandbox launches, it already has, I believe, at least 100 fully fledged, like, well done games. I think 100 is actually what they're trying to do for the partner program. I believe it's going to have far more than that when it launches. But their goal, in short, is to make sure that there is a ton of really good experiences inside the Sandbox to make people want to come back. So from an analytics perspective, I don't know quite how you would do that. Because E2 is a website, it's really easy to do that. But again, that's because E2 is very simple as a platform. When you get into something that utilizes an external application for the game player and stuff like that, obviously analytics is harder to track. So whereas I don't know quite how you would track the analytics for something like that, I think also the approach for gaining that foot traffic, for creating an experience that generates foot traffic, is going to be a little bit different for something like the Sandbox than something at the scale of E2. I mean, that's very possible, Jerome. I don't know. That's a really, like, a deeply dev style topic for me, so I'm not familiar with whether or not that's possible with the game maker as is to link foot traffic. I imagine they're going to have some stats that you're going to be able to, as a landowner, be able to see, amount of people that visited your land, etc. That makes a lot of sense for them to provide. They've provided everything else so far for creators to really, like, go crazy in their lands. So I don't doubt that they'll create some sort of stats tool for landowners to utilize. I just am not familiar with one right now. But I really dig that idea. And I can understand the value of analytics, especially for someone that might be really analytic driven. I myself am not a super analytic driven kind of person. I mean, I use it to an extent with my YouTube channel to look at certain variables and stuff like that, but I don't rely on analytics as much as some people might just on a daily basis, and because of that, they tend to favor them more and make a lot of their decisions based off of that. I know my sister, when she was into YouTube, she was really big at looking into SEO and always doing SEO and keyword analytics studies and Google AdWords studies and stuff like that. And while it's something I could probably do that would benefit me a lot, it's just not something I have done to this point. I don't know. I want to say it might be Java. I know I saw a reference to Java recently, which is a little outdated. I believe I'd have to look into it further. I'm not sure. Not technical enough there, man. Sorry. But if you were really wanting to know, I guarantee you could go to their Discord and ask them, and one of the devs would tell you. Oops. It looks like they tend to get pretty bombarded with questions in their Discord, but they tend to answer the ones that seem fairly important. So yeah, I'm not sure on the scripting language. Let me check. Let's see. So right now it says, I'm looking at the FAQ for it in GitHub, and it's asking about using code to make games in the Game Maker. It says you don't need any knowledge of coding to make games. It was designed with no code approach. However, they'll be adding an optional coding feature. So what would that be? I mean, I know Unity as a whole supports C. So I assume that probably. That's my guess. That's my guess. They'd be wise to make it as accessible as possible, though. That's my personal opinion. Jesus, I can't believe I've already been live for 30 minutes. It is really easy to waste hours of time building in this. Just like to say that. Yes, I know E2 is in the process of making an API for creators. If you're looking to build in the Sandbox, man, I'd say just give it a shot and get in there now and just start trying to use the tools they have. I know that they're going to be going live. They haven't given an exact date on when they go live, but it's supposed to be like the beta is supposed to be, or alpha, excuse me, is supposed to be dropping this summer, which means, you know, shortly after that it'll be beta and then live. So you have a little bit of time to work on your game experience still if it's something you really want to do, if it's something you're curious on or interested in. I've had a lot of fun so far. This is more of my fun build. I have another build that I've been taking a lot more seriously. That's a full-on game. And while I am going to take this seriously, obviously, and it's going to be a very cool experience, I've spent a lot of time building this game experience on my other world template. I'm pretty excited to reveal that at a later time, but that probably won't come until closer to alpha release or beta release, where people can actually get in there and play it on the Sandbox. Cathedral type of windows. I might have to build that. I think that this is the only glass that's the default asset, so I'd have to make that. I have to make a lot of assets still. I'm trying to do as much build out as I can with just the default assets before I make stuff that I absolutely need. Some stuff is just placeholder stuff. That's kind of my goal. I'm waiting on them to open up publishing for everybody. Right now, I have to either get into the Game Maker Creators Fund or wait for them to open another game jam before I can post my own assets into my world. And that's just because they have a review process that takes a little bit to go through. Obviously, every asset in Sandbox has to be reviewed before it's submitted. And you can imagine once there's a couple 100,000 people all creating assets, well, there won't be 100,000 people because it's only going to be landowners that are creating them, I think. That's not true. That's a lie. Anybody can create it. You don't have to be a landowner. So again, my statement stands. A couple 100,000 people all creating assets. The review process for that is pretty lengthy, especially since they have to make sure nothing's copywritten, etc. People tend to try to make stuff that is licensed by other companies already because it looks cool, so you want to make it, but you have to be careful about making stuff like that because, especially if they're a partner of the Sandbox. Like if you're trying to make something Atari related, they're probably not going to look too highly on that since Atari is already a partner in the Sandbox and they're working on their own world, which means they're probably trying to get their own assets created. So yeah. There's a review process that I think is kind of holding that up right now. Adisice, how's it going? Just doing a little building. We're building Combo Island here. I'm actually building the tree trunk. I know this doesn't quite look like a tree trunk. It's because it's a massive tree, and there's going to be a tree house at the top of it. Treehouse clubhouse. Yeah, it's so simple. It's almost difficult, Jerome. The box edit. After I started messing around with it, I really got the hang of it. I made a few different assets, even some ones that were animated. It just takes a little bit of time to get used to, a little bit of practice. But if you devote a couple hours to just getting familiar with the tools, it starts to make a lot of sense. Dab it up. Yeah, you just gotta... I think the thing that helped me the most was just kind of Googling, YouTubing a little bit to understand how it works. Realizing that you have to make the individual asset pieces in VoxEdit and just the asset creator, and then in the animator is where you can combine them into larger pieces to make either a larger static asset or a larger asset that's animated. But to make more complex assets, you have to do that in the animator. So once I figured that out, it made a lot more sense. And I was able to make more complex things. Although it's not really hard to make things that look pretty cool. I think the two hardest things are understanding how to make complex objects and understanding how to size things at the proper scale so that it makes sense for the character models, etc. I noticed that it's easy to kind of screw up the sizing of something. I've been playing Roblox and Minecraft. You know, it's funny. I let my little one play this, and she was actually building, just doing some game building. 7, 10. I just had to see how high that window was. She was doing some game building, and it seemed like it was not quite as intuitive to her as something like Minecraft or Roblox. So it made me feel good that it wasn't that easy, that just a kid could do it. Although it is very easy. She still, I mean, she was able to place things without a problem, but when it came to making something do something, making something chase something, making something attackable, etc., then she kind of got lost a little bit. She's starting to understand how to use components and behaviors and stuff, which for 7 is pretty impressive. She's only 7 years old, and she was figuring it out pretty well. But yeah, there's definitely a learning curve to it, I think. Which I enjoy because I feel like I still have something on my kids, right? How many jewels so far? I got like 20-something jewels right now. I only got like 3,500 tiles in Earth 2. I got like 60 properties, but like 3,500 tiles. I bought them over time. I made like very calculated purchases. Some of them I also gave away in giveaways. So I think that's about what's to be expected based off of the jewel distribution that's been going so far. To be honest with you, I was kind of underwhelmed by the whole jewel thing. Just because I don't know. I was hoping for a little bit more to do. Which is why you see me doing this here. It's because I'm kind of using it to fill my time. Filling that creative void that I can't really, that itch I can't scratch with Earth 2 right now. Not to say that if Earth 2 came out with build tools, I would suddenly jump back to that, because I'm pretty heavy into this right now, so I'd probably finish building this first before I transition to that. Nevertheless, I definitely needed the ability to create something, so that's why I ended up coming to this. Yeah, it is getting pretty tall. I don't see what I'm going to do. Ooh, don't want to do that. Thank God. Sometimes when you make really huge blocks like that, it'll blow the game up, and it'll cause the game maker to crash, especially since my computer's already struggling since I'm streaming and running game maker at the same time. So when I accidentally just made that huge blob, I was a little afraid that I was about to lose all my progress, so we're going to save right now. It is getting pretty tall. I might try to cap it off. We got so much height we can go still. See, all things considered, we can still go way higher. I might do one more series and then the treetop. Well, I don't know, because we got to do the building at the top too, like the big treehouse platform and then the big bushy treetop. I can go up to 148 tall, so we'll have to see. It is a lot of fun, man. I have 3 different lands. You can publish, obviously, this is a 1x1, so they can be published to a single tile, a single land. I have 3 individual single lands, so I could build 3 of these experiences and publish them. I have 1 that I plan on doing that's its own brand / experience. I have 1 that I'm going to do for the community, which is this Combo Island. And then, you know, as of right now, I have an extra one. I can do whatever I decide to do, whatever comes to my mind. Honestly, I do intend on trying to get more lands. I think that it's a solid investment. They're very finite. And if you can make an experience on all of your lands, then that's just that many experiences you can have hosted in the game, and that many more chances of, you know, one of your experiences being a hit, right? So it's kind of how I feel. You can double it in size, I guess. Don't forget to build a cave for us. So I totally want to do a cave. I think that'll be sick. I might do like another floating platform over here that is like an arch, or maybe just a larger ridge that's got a cave that runs through it. I also have to do a spawn spot. I want to do a spot that everyone spawns into when they first enter into the community area. And then they can choose if they want to go to the treehouse, or if they want to go to the NFT gallery or the market, or what they want to do from there. So definitely got some stuff I got to flesh out here. I just wanted to do this because I know it's going to be like one of the main focal points of the land. So I wanted to work on it now. I think I'm also going to have branches kind of like come out and have like little like just things to make it look more like a tree. I might widen the base a little bit and kind of make it taper up a little bit. Things to give it tree vibes. I am using the fire gravel block to build it because I really liked the texture that it made. It almost kind of looked like a barky texture. So, Lost Ark. I have heard of Lost Ark. I haven't checked it out. You guys been keeping up on any of those Marvel shows? I've been watching Loki, and I have been loving it. I didn't really used to be a huge Marvel guy. Like, I've always appreciated Marvel. I always thought it was cool, but man, that Loki series has been so cool. Just a big fan. All right, so we got 3 and then a platform. Stop it. Give me that fire gravel. Yeah, we might cap it off right here. I don't know. I don't know if this is tall enough or not. Doesn't feel tall enough to me, but I don't know. Yeah, I've never been like, I wasn't ever huge into the Marvel movies. Like, I appreciated them, I enjoyed them, I thought they were good watches. Nice little cinematic escape. But for some reason, I started getting into like the shows. Starting probably with WandaVision, and then Falcon Winter Soldier, and then most recently Loki. But I've loved every single one of them. And the Loki episodes for me have just been fantastic. Really like mind-bendy. And they're definitely trying to really add some expanse and lore and kind of like shake up the Marvel Cinematic Universe a little bit, clearly. That balcony's going to have to be bigger, for sure. Yeah, I think we're going to do one. It's going to be this one balcony, and then this is going to be the main area here. Because then we're getting a little tall otherwise. We got other stuff we can add. What if we want to do balloon rides or some sort of wild crap? All right, let's save it again. Yes, I'm going to make some roots coming out, make some roots that like run along the ground, etc. I can do that. I could make it as an asset. I might be able to make it with blocks too. Yeah, I don't know if it'll look quite as good. I mean, it's already starting to look better than it was. Yeah, something like that I could do to add, or I could just make it assets. I might actually make assets for it just because I think it'll look cooler. And I can make it to where it doesn't block people from walking, etc. All right. So we got to add our top here. This is going to be fun. Because I could be pretty large. Yeah, I definitely want to make some custom assets. You can see the list of custom assets I want to make, guys. There's just so many things that I want to make. I've made a couple things. Guitar cabinet speaker, amp head. Couple, made some lighting, some concert lighting. Some of this information might be hinting at some of the stuff I'm working on in my other land. If you're catching up, if you're picking up what I'm putting down here. Perfect. I'm like messing that up. We gotta add our elevation first. See the pirates? I did. I saw the pirates looked very cool. The guy that worked on it, Andy Ritchie, I know he's one of the devs that's on the Sandbox live streams, but he's also one of their members of their partner creative team. I know he was one of the people that worked on creating it, and those assets look sick. I don't know if you saw the assets this morning too. What were they called? Because they did a live stream this morning that was crazy. They were showing the Shrine of Truth NFTs. If you guys haven't seen that, go check that out. The Sandbox game did a live stream earlier today where they did an AMA with the creators of the Shrine of Truth NFT asset pack. So they made this series of assets, and then they went one step further and they made this land completely with just these assets they created. There's no blocks in the entire land. So I would definitely recommend checking this out. The land looks incredible. The level of detail on like the textures and stuff is just, it's better than I even thought the Sandbox could look. And it really just kind of gets your brain flowing. It gets all of the gears turning when you see someone do something like that where they didn't use a single set of blocks. And it just looks amazing. So not only did they make this land out of those assets, but those assets are going up for sale, including like the big one you see if you go to the video, the big shrine style thing that they built is going up for sale. And I mean, they look so cool. So cool. Really impressed with what those guys did. Like I said, it really just got me thinking about all sorts of things I could do. It was really cool. Really cool. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that as the Sandbox expands, you know, as more creators get involved, as people have more time to make these kinds of creations. We're really going to see more things like that. Just absolutely incredible creations. I think it was just a taste of some of the stuff we're going to end up seeing on the marketplace once the platform goes live. And that's exciting because I wanted to buy some of those things. I thought they looked awesome. Yeah, the pirates look very cool too. Uh-oh. Did not mean to do that. We're going to crash the game maker here. That's what we're going to do. We're going big cam for a sec. I'm pretty sure we just crashed it with that big block. No, we didn't. We got it back. Yes. Browser scene. Crisis averted. Yeah, so that's what I was saying. If you accidentally drag your cursor and make like a huge block like that, depending on the computer you're running, I'm running on a laptop with only like 16 gigs of RAM. And it doesn't really have like any too crazy graphics or video card on it, so it's going to struggle under certain conditions, especially while I'm trying to run Streamlabs OBS and do this at the same time. But I was impressed with the recovery there. Man, I wish you could buy stand-up. Jerome, me too. Me too. I so badly wish you could buy stand on Coinbase, because that's what I use for my main exchange. And right now what I have to do is I have to send Sand to my MetaMask wallet and then convert it to... I'm sorry, I have to send ETH to my MetaMask wallet and convert it to Sand on Uniswap, which is kind of a pain in the butt. I mean, it works. Don't get me wrong, it works, and I'm happy I have an option. But it's still, you know, not as cool as it could be. I have a feeling that Sand is going to make it over to Coinbase at some point. I just feel like it's gaining a lot of momentum right now. So I could definitely see it making its way over to Coinbase. That'd be awesome for a lot of reasons. One, because I wouldn't have to pay all the gas fees every time I swap, which is not fun right now. I am a musician, Adisice. I am a musician. Yeah, Jerome, if you're really wanting land, go for the land sales. It's a 1,011 Sand for a single land, which is probably the cheapest you'll get it. It was, at the time, it was around $200. I think Sand's a little more expensive. Sand was like 19 cents at the time, but I think it's gone up a little bit. So whatever 1,011 Sand is what you'll be paying. Let me check what Sand is right now. Sand is 31 cents, so it's gone up a little bit. So yeah, you'll probably be paying a little bit more than $200, but still, it's far less than 3,000 Sand. So if you really want to get a land, I definitely recommend checking out the land sales first. And then, of course, if you can't get it there, then you can always put more Sand in and buy secondhand. I made the mistake of being impatient and buying secondhand first. And, I mean, I don't consider it a mistake because I think it's a sick investment. But at the same time, I probably could have gotten it a land a lot cheaper if I'd have just waited until a land sale, because I spent almost $1,000 on a land on OpenSea, and I could have bought like at least 4 lands with that much money. So, you know, you learn your lessons. So the land sales happen on the Sandbox site. If you want to know how it goes down, I actually dropped a video on it, I think last week, maybe 2 weeks ago. It's just the Sandbox land sale step by step. It just goes through kind of what you need to do to be prepared for the land sale, what you can expect, how it goes down. It goes down inside their Metaverse map on the Sandbox site. And it's really cool the way it goes down. You just wait till the go live time, and then all the lands instantly open up to be booked. And then you just have to click on one and book it and go through with the transaction. And you can see them all getting booked in real time. I really like the way they do that, but they go really fast. So, you know, get in there, try to book a land, be prepared. Look at that video and make sure you follow all those steps to be prepared for the land sale. And it'll obviously greatly increase your chances of getting land during the sale. The last 2 weeks I've been in both, and I've actually gotten a land in both land sales. Like I said, just use some of the recommendations I have in that video and you really increase your chances of getting one. Also, the less picky you are, if you're just okay going for a random land, you'll probably be better off. Some people really try to go for like specific spots during the land sale, and that can backfire on them, especially if it's a spot that's popular with other people. So I usually have like 2 or 3 spots picked out, and I just like, I go to book one, and if it's already booked, I just go right to the second one. And I kind of just have my backups. And if things start getting too crazy and everything's getting booked, then I just grab whatever land I can grab. I'm more confident in my ability to build something cool, so I don't really care about my location as much. Somebody that might not feel that level of confidence might feel like location's more important. I can understand that. And if that's the case, I mean, you know, do what you got to do. But I don't really feel like location's too important to me, so I just try to get a land I can get during the sale. And it's worked out for me so far. Me, Meta, and Earth 2 Odyssey have been in both land sales the last 2 weeks. And we both got lands in each sale. Or all 3 of us, excuse me, got lands in each sale. So we've had pretty decent luck, but again, it comes down to being prepared and making sure you do all the things ahead of time. You can exchange Omi for sand. Randy won't be happy. Hey man, I mean, obviously make your own decisions there. I won't tell you to do anything you're not comfortable with. I do think Omi has some potential. It definitely has some long-term potential. So obviously only do something you're comfortable with doing. Don't get too crazy. Although in my instance, I took a bunch of Ethereum I had invested for months and literally just dumped it on a land in like 2 seconds and was like, YOLO. Didn't even care. Because I was just excited to have a chance to build and own a land in this, because I really do think that this is one of those experiences that has the potential to be pretty big. Especially if you saw the way the community's already working on all of these experiences and sort of embrace the idea of building this metaverse, because that was the idea with the Sandbox, was to make it to where eventually the community owned the metaverse completely. They have lands, a certain number of lands that are reserved for Sandbox exclusive games, but those are just Sandbox exclusive games because they're made by Sandbox creators inside the Creators Fund. So they're rewarding them for their good game experiences by giving them free lands to host them on. But eventually everything is just going to be owned by the players. Everything will be, all the lands will be owned by the players. The entire economy will be, player driven. It's just the way it'll be. And I think that that's very cool. Okay, so we're getting somewhere here. This platform needs to be a lot bigger. Yeah, I have a lot of plans for my lands. I think I could do some pretty big things. I have some pretty big ideas. You really have to think outside the box with stuff like this. I have noticed that this is one of those things where you have to think about things you wouldn't necessarily have thought about being possible before. And you definitely have to approach those ideas, because I think those are the ideas that are going to be big in the metaverse. Yeah, the Roblox story is amazing, man. It really is. And I do really think that success is the reason why I think the Sandbox can be so successful, because it's proven that, I mean, obviously the graphics aren't crazy, but again, we've proven with the success of Minecraft and Roblox that graphics isn't everything. It's all about the experience. It's about that inclusive metaverse experience. And I really do think that what they're doing here is taking that to the next level. You know what I mean? It's taking it to the nth degree here and really making it a metaverse for a next generation of gamer. And I think blockchain is part of that. I think blockchain is part of the future of that next generation of gaming. So embracing that, I think, will be key. I don't think we need those anymore now that we're at the top platform. I'm going to build different walls after I figure out how I want this laid out. Yeah, I mean, time will tell with the Sandbox. At the end of the day, people have to play it, right? In order for it to be successful, people have to play it. But, I mean, based off the interest I've already seen, and the game hasn't even launched yet, and based off of like the way my little one reacts to it when I let her play my game world and just test it out, which, side note, she's an amazing game dev. Having a little one that can test your game worlds is literally like the most invaluable asset on the planet, because you basically have a free game tester. And she showed me so many things that I need to fix or tweak about my game, because I'm not thinking about it from the perspective of a person that's just approaching it as a player of a game. So she's been really excited about it. She's always bummed when I have to kick her off it so I can keep working on something or fix something. So I think her interest right there kind of just shows me that there's a lot of potential for the platform. And I think it looks really good. I mean, I think it looks really good. I think it has the potential to look even better. They've already expressed their want to improve the... Look at that. That's pretty tall. Oh, it almost looks like it could be taller, though. They've expressed their want to improve the graphics of the platform. Oh, it's big, though, huh? Yeah, this thing's huge. Yeah, the sand supply is not bad at all. I really think that it has the potential to go up in value quite a bit, just because of the limited supply. I do believe that there's like 3 billion total they're going to introduce. So there will be a little bit more that total eventually gets introduced into circulation. But even then, you know, if the Sandbox platform were to be as successful as I think it could be, 3 billion tokens is still not a lot to absorb all the value that this platform could potentially drive. So a lot of exciting stuff, We'll just have to see, you know, what happens. So I'm going to make a huge square platform, but I am not going to actually make the building square. It's going to be a series of circular, like, style buildings. To do that, I really have to expand the footprint of this quite a bit. This is not going to work how I wanted it to, so it's going to be a bit of a manual process. For anyone that might have just joined, we are in the midst of building a treehouse. This is going to be a clubhouse area for community members of my channel. This is going to be an exclusive land in the Sandbox that community members can access, hang out in, whether I'm there or not. We'll be doing group events. We're going to have a market so that community members can host their services or products that they might offer if they have a business where they offer a service or product, whether it be a digital or a physical service. We're going to do what we can to showcase that, have a revolving market every month. We're going to have an NFT gallery with community curated NFTs. Have some mini games. Anything else we can really just do to have a little bit of fun. And I'm hoping to keep this as some sort of open area that anyone from the community can just jump in and out of anytime. You know, I don't have to be there. I don't even have to be around. Why does that just keep happening? I keep clicking on the spawn point. It's going to end up looking like the treehouse from Swiss Family Robinson or something. Dang, we're already at an hour here. Lots of time. It takes lots of time. All right, so how do I want to design this? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple smaller rooms off of these balconies, like maybe like a circular room here and a circular room here with balconies that run around it. And then I'm going to do a larger room, which will be like the clubhouse area up here. I think that's probably the smart thing to do. I feel like it's still got to be way bigger than this, though, if we're going to have room for everybody. All right. I think we'll start here. I'm going to start here. If we have to change it, if we have to upgrade it, we'll do that. All right, so what's the building going to be made of? Are we going to make it out of wood? Wood tiles? Yep, that's what we're going to do. How do I want to do this? I'm trying to figure out how I want to draw out the design. Because I want to make it slightly circular shaped. Uh-oh. Hopefully someone didn't just fall out off the ladder outside. People next door are having their house or their roof redone. It sounded like something just came tumbling down the ladder. So hopefully that wasn't a person. How wide is this thing, first of all? Sweet. Yep, I think this will be the outline. We're getting there. Well, there it is, I think. Yeah, that should work. I knew that was going to happen. I hate that, the square tool. Hate it. Hate it with a passion. Free tool is the one I use the most. And even it acts kind of funky sometimes. And this will be 4 blocks tall, which should be twice as tall as an avatar. Because each avatar is about 2 blocks high. Alright, I think we're probably going to have to wrap this up here in a second. Getting a little longer than I wanted to here for the stream length. I was hoping I could get this finished in the hour, but I just... Well, number one, you know, when you're making stupid mistakes like that, you're wasting precious time, so... I think we have a good start, though. I think on my next stream, which will be in the next day or two, I'm just going to keep building. We're just going to keep building. Keep working on it. Did I put it 5 high? Yeah, let's do 5 high. Let's do it. Put 1 higher. 2.5 times as tall as a person. Love it. I'm going to finish these walls here real quick before we wrap it up. Go! Hey, Jerome! Congrats on the sand purchase, man. So, if you want to get in on the Sandbox land sale, just remember you also need a tiny bit of ETH in your wallet to cover the gas fees, because the transaction, when you buy the land, it also is an ETH, like it's on the Ethereum mainnet, so you will need gas fees. It was like $3 last time or something in Ethereum, but just make sure you have a little bit of Ethereum in whatever wallet you use, whatever wallet you link to the Sandbox. I use MetaMask because it's super easy to do, but everyone's got a different preference. And then, yeah, best of luck, man. Hopefully you get in. All right, I think this is where we're gonna call it quits here. I gotta get rid of the platform underneath it. It was just for reference to understand how wide we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it look a little more tree housey. We're gonna add some limbs coming off here with leaves. Limbs coming off here with leaves on both sides. We're going to add leaves to the top to make it like a legit tree house. I just thought the concept was really cool. We're going to have a balcony, people will be able to hang out, jump off maybe, etc. We'll see. Yeah, we might use this as a balcony too, as a circular balcony that runs around it. We'll just have to terraform it a little bit. All right, so we got the centerpiece pretty well established here, guys. So I think this is a good stopping point. I do like the scale of this so far too. I didn't want it to be too big, but I definitely wanted it to be the center point of the land. I think this is the right size scale. It gives us a lot of space to still do a ton at ground level. A lot of like landscaping and stuff to kind of create our trails and our directions. Still a ton of elevation we can use. I think honestly this is only like 50 blocks high. So I'm pretty sure I can build like twice as high as this. So we can have islands and structures and mountains and stuff that go way up above that. So we're definitely going to have to do that. Either that or we'll build some sort of experience that flies over the land. I think that'd be kind of cool. As much stuff as you guys can possibly, as I can possibly cram in there for you guys to do is basically my goal. So, all right, guys, I'm calling it quits here. I appreciate all of you guys hanging out today. It was great chatting with you, Jerome, and Adisice and everyone else. Thank you guys. If you guys like this content, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you guys want to see more, blockchain gaming stuff, more virtual land, metaverse style conversations and videos, it's the kind of stuff I like to cover, whether it be in a live stream or in just a regular video. Also, make sure to check out my weekly metaverse updates. Go over everything going on in the metaverse. It's really your one-stop shop for all the things happening in the metaverse on a weekly basis and kind of keep you in the know on all that stuff. Other than that, guys, make sure to follow on Twitter. Make sure to join the Discord and say hey. I appreciate all the support. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. And until next time, we'll see you soon.